Tony.
And welcome to Cadwell Park for this Manufacturers' Cup, the EBC MCN Superstock Manufacturers' Cup. And it's a great day for sport. There's a big crowd here to see these two 8-lap legs. On an aggregate of the two races, we're going to see the winner in this Manufacturers' Cup. And the weather is fine, the track is in superb condition. And the aggregate of these two races, they're going to take the scores on a motocross scoring system. That is 20, 17, 15, and then 10 down to 1. And it is the manufacturer's prize fund. There is £3,000 has been put together by the Big Four who are here for a showdown today. That is Yamaha, Suzuki, Honda and Kawasaki, who are going to battle it out. They've been lured here today by the BBC cameras. And there are going to be 30 extremely talented riders on this grid. My co-commentator today with me in the box is Mick Grant, none other than Mick Grant, the man who did a lot of development work on the Works Honda, who's raced in Grand Prix, TT Hero, etc. So Mick, welcome to you, and I'll join you just in a second. We'll just go through the grid. Phil Mellor, he is the man, number 10, on the Suzuki, who lapped under the lap record in practice, and he's going to be on the inside at the front. In second place, Gary Knoll from Frimley, who is also on, he's on the Yamaha, sorry, in second place. In third place is the championship leader, Keith Hewen, and he's on another Yamaha. And then in fourth place is Hurst, Roger Hurst, who had trouble getting away from here on the warming up lap, but I can see him making his way through there on the inside. Then we've got, after Hurst, it was Trevor Nation, another Yamaha runner, and then Darren Dixon on the first of the Kawasaki's, and then in seventh position, the first of the Hondas, Brian Morrison. So, Mick Grant, it looks like we've got 20 seconds before we start. These machines are super stocks. What's the difference between them and a Grand Prix machine? Quickly.
These machines are almost standard road bikes with some minor modifications to put them into racing class. They will give around about 105 horsepower.
Well, a tremendous start, and it looks like one of the Yamahas at the front. I'm not quite sure. It could have been Hewen, number 16, coming through. We're just looking at the back of the field and some of the Kawasaki's there as they go out through Charlie's Bend, and it's our long shot down Park Straight. And there's a great snake of these Superstock bikes, 750 cc's, four-stroke machines, but they're on racing tyres because you're allowed to have them. And it is, in fact, Hewen. Right behind him is Mellor. Mez Mellor to his mates, but he's in second place for Suzuki. And in third place, we'll try and pick him out for you in a moment. Mick.
Phil there is looking very tight on the first part of Chris Curve there. Phil actually set a last record in practice with Keith Hewen very close to him, nothing much to separate them on the times.
And in fact, in third place, it's number 19, there's Roger Hurst, or Hursty, and he's a great British hope. He's been going extremely well in these Superstock rounds. And in fourth position, it looks like number 5, Trevor Nation, who in fact broke his collarbone earlier in the season, I believe at Knock Hill. And there, they're pulling wheelies, Keith Hewen, as he brings up that front wheel, as he heads towards Hall Bend, chased by this gaggle of Superstock bikes in the Manufacturers' Cup for this big £3,000 purse.
It'll take about 2 laps to get the tyres really warm, Tony, so they're all going quite cautious at the minute.
Well, this is a great start from Hewen because he's only got one win in this championship so far, and he's looking to get ahead of the rest of these and win this Manufacturers' Cup for Yamaha, but he's also out to prove that he can win races from the front and not just by consistent riding as he has done so far this season.
Keith's had a bit of a steady season really, but as you say, he has been consistent, and up to press the total tally of wins is just a 1, and I know he feels very firm about the fact that he's going to get him stuck in and get some more wins in his belt.
And there's Mellor, he's taken the lead, going into that 90-degree. No, Hewen's not having any of that. He's gone back into the lead. So there's going to be a battle royal on between Yamaha and Suzuki. There is Mellor looking on the inside as they're going down towards the gooseneck. Tremendous riding.
I'm quite surprised at Phil going so early, but he's on the bike and not me.
In fourth place, looks like Gary Knoll, the 26-year-old from Frimley in Surrey. But I did notice when I was watching that Yamaha go up the hill down Parkway Straight that the way he was snaking with that power.
it's quite interesting that there's only the Suzuki that's on Michelin tyres. The rest are actually on Dunlop, but both Dunlop and Michelin are using radials.
Well, there they go. They're all pulling wheelies up there, and that is taken in third gear, pulling fourth gear, and now they're at the slowest part of the track, and that is down at Hairpin Corner, which, according to Steve Chambers, who's a local rider on number 6, says you've got to take it in first gear, so that's about 10 miles per hour. He said anything more than that and you could drop the machine.
I think that now Phil Miller's hit the front, he's shown his hand and he's really got to get stuck in and try and make a bit of a break. But unfortunately these machines are so well matched that it's almost down to the riding ability of each individual rider.
Well, we're looking at Charlie's Bend as they exit there, something like 120 miles per hour, and they're getting down onto the Park straightaway and up over the crest into Park. They're getting about 150 miles per hour there, and Phil Mellor from Huddersfield, who's 31 years of age, I don't think I've ever seen him ride quite this well. He's
riding absolutely fantastically this year, and I was watching him at Thuxton last weekend, and he was in a class of his own, and he would appear to be showing the same today. To pull maybe sort of 70 or 80 yards in two and a half laps in this class of competition is quite incredible.
Phil Mellor just negotiating that new hairpin which they've put in at the bottom of the gooseneck to slow these machines down. As you see them disappearing from our sight, there they're coming into our sight towards the mountain. Now, you've ridden the mountain many times before. It's quite a dangerous section, I think.
It is. It's taken in second gear, and what you must try to do as you approach the mountain, because the bike goes light and the front wheel comes up, is getting a straight line at the bottom of the hill. And obviously people like Phil Mellor and Keith Ewan have done it many times, and they're fairly well organised at it. But you watch youngsters taking it, and it's quite frightening.
Well, you can see that Hewan there in second place is not letting go, and then we've got Hurst in third place, and in fourth place number 11 Gary Knoll from Frimley and Surrey on another Yamaha. We'll try and find out for you in a minute. The Kawasaki, Darren Dixon on number 38 is in sixth place at the moment, and we'll try and see where the Hondas are, because these VFR Hondas 350s have got the 360-degree crankshaft, so they should be coming into the figuring soon, I'd have thought, Mick.
That's right. I see there again, Gary Knowles there in just behind that leading bunch. He's quite a new rider to Superstock, and he's, it's quite, after riding two-stroke machines of the lighter classes, it's quite a big jump to get up here, and he's one of the riders, Gary Knoll, that's doing quite well at it, adapting.
I'm talking to Rex White, the man from Suzuki, and he said that the good riders are the ones that can go from two-stroke machines, and certainly Mellor, who you're looking at in the lead now, can do that, and onto a four-stroke machine, which is, after all, very much based on a road-going bike, yet with slick tyres and special suspension, but it takes a lot longer to stop that machine, and of course you can't crank it over quite the same as a thoroughbred two-stroke.
Phil's getting a lot of pressure now, and he's just got to keep his head.
And that was a tremendously long and over-ambitious wheelie, I would have said, by Hursty there, number 19. But Mellor's still hanging on, so he's riding really well. And this, of course, is the beauty of Superstock. And this is why the manufacturers are here today, all the big four Japanese manufacturers, to say who's the best. Mellor at the moment on the Suzuki is saying he is, but the others are not going to let him go. So Gary Knoll, the man who pulled the big wheelie there, up into second place. Hewan in third place. Fourth place is Hurst.
Phil made a mistake there, and Knoll came right under him, and I think that maybe now Mez has got some work to do to catch back up to Gary Knoll.
Right, I see that. Gary Knoll, he's pulled out something like about 5 machine lengths there, and Phil Mellor noticeably using up all the track. Knoll, of course, it shouldn't be forgotten, had his best result in the Superstock Championship last week at Thruxton, finishing second, so he's got the bit between the teeth.
The performance now from Gary Knoll is quite incredible. Look, he's got maybe another 70 or 80 yards advantage.
And we can see a red flag down on the start line. They've finished 4 laps. There it is, the red flag. That means they're going to stop the race. There's obviously been an incident somewhere. And it's Mark Phillips, number 1. We're not sure exactly what's happened. And there he is down by the side of the track. Let's hope he's okay. And it seems that there's some oil on the track out on the far side. Either that or the crossed flags, that is the yellow, which is the danger flag, and of course the red and yellow flag crossed like that mean showing the rest of the riders that they've got to stop when they get back to the grid. So let's hope it won't be too long. But Mark Phillips, of course, he could have received some sort of injuries. Let's hope he hasn't, and let's hope he can get back into this race. But Mark Phillips is a local man from Eagle in Lincoln, and there's the ambulance. They'll be checking up on him, obviously. He has just recovered from a broken elbow and a broken collarbone earlier in this season, and in fact his elbow was plated. So he's like a lot of these motorcycle riders, they're always in the wars, Mick, and I remember that you broke your pelvis once and you were still determined to carry on riding about 2 weeks later. Brave men, or mad?
It's a living, and I think you must go and do it. I feel sorry in actual fact that he's crashed, because it's a one-off ride that he's having on the Skull Bandit Heron Suzuki, and I was speaking to him earlier this morning. He was really looking forward to it. Last week at Thruxton he rode the Honda, so at the minute he's doing the rounds on various motorcycles.
That's right, he was riding bike number 7, the Honda, at Thruxton last week, but he was of course the Formula 1 champion last year, and Mark Phillips, better known as the captain, let's wish him good luck, because just talking about the injuries, just this morning there were in fact some of the drivers knocking their knees and things. So we will see what the situation is. The bikes have reformed on the grid, and hoping that we'll have a restart soon.
Okay, Tony, thank you very much indeed. Any kind of motorsport that you have seems to involve crashes, and we're in consciousness, and the race has just started again. Here's Tony Jardine.
And the race has indeed been restarted, Des, and Keith Ewan has gone into the lead of where they finished off. The positions at the end of 4 laps when the race was stopped is from where they restarted this event, and it's going to be the aggregate of these 2 parts of this first leg. We've still got the second leg, 8-lap leg to come later on, and Keith Ewan on the Yamaha, the series leader of Superstocks, has gone into an immediate lead, and there behind him is Roger Hurst, the man who's been driving extremely well, and in 3rd place is number 10, Phil Mellor. There's confirmation of how they finished after 4 laps. It was Mellor, Gary Knoll in 2nd place, Keith Ewan 3rd place, in 4th place was Hurst, 5th was Trevor Nation, and 6th was Darren Dixon, the first of the Kawasaki riders. And just to update you as to the positions relative to the Manufacturers' Cup, and they're all racing for this £3,000 prize purse. It is Suzuki first after the 4 laps, Yamaha, Kawasaki was in 6th place after the 4 laps, and then in 8th place was Brian Morrison on the Honda. That's the Scotsman who has been driving that VFR Honda and driving it very well indeed. Mick Grant is with me in the commentary box as we watch Roger Hurst make a little bit of a mistake. Mick, the second part of this restarted race, and it looks like Hursty's in the front there.
Yes, I think obviously with it being a much shorter race now, only 4 laps, if Roger just hangs on where he is and doesn't panic, it'll be very hard for the people behind him to make any difference, any sort of advantage on him.
And there's good news, of course, from the track centre here, that Mark Phillips on bike number 1, who went off in the first 4 laps, and that was the reason for the stoppage, is A-OK, and that's fantastic news, Mick. I'm sure you're relieved as well.
That's right, because in fact where Mark fell off, it wouldn't be the best of places, and he's come off quite lucky at that.
Right, in this restarted race, the second part of this first leg, we've got Roger Hurst in the lead at the moment, and he's on the Yamaha. In 2nd place is Keith Ewan, number 16, on another Yamaha. In 3rd place is number 10 at the moment, Phil Mellor, Mez Mellor on a Suzuki, and in 4th place is number 47, which is Jeff Fowler, the man who tested all these 4 machines for Motorcycling News and couldn't find much difference between them. Mick?
No, in actual fact, the machines, all the top Japanese machines, are very, very close. As I said earlier, it really was up to the rider on the day who was sort of on form. And Phil Miller, who is currently in third position on aggregate, could just be okay. Oops, Phil Miller lost it then. He had a fairly big slide in the back end.
Well, he seems to have been pushing a little bit hard today. That's a couple of times I've seen his rear wheel stepping out of line. But you're just looking at Hewen there and Mellor behind him as they go into the Mansfield corner and chicane at the bottom of that 1-in-3 hill. A great deal of braking and weight on the brakes, I would think, as they plunge down that section, Mick.
It's a very nasty little chicane. It's completely out of character with the circuit, and the last meeting here, Phil Miller actually crashed in that place, so I'm sure every time he comes through it, he won't be relishing that prospect.
And just looking there, Hurst was really pushing it. He was very, very close on the inside there through Hall Bends. His knee almost clipping that bank, and a couple of riders have done that today. And he's also pulling great wheelies up over the mountain, anxiously looking over his shoulder to see where those second and third place men are. But he's 6th overall in the Superstock Championship, and he had 1 win this year at Snetterton, although he too, Hursty there, has had a couple of tumbles as well.
Yeah, I think Roger's one of these guys who is either up front or crashing, and I think in this sort of championship you've got to be there at every race to make it towards the end of the championship as champion, but a very, very exciting rider and gaining experience all the time.
Oh, while we're looking at Hurst, sir, I'm also impressed so far by the ride of Jeff Fowler from Blackburn, a 26-year-old who's normally an endurance rider, and of course has done a lot of work testing these machines and will race later on in the TZR Challenge. But that's a great position for him. And in 5th place is number 5 at the moment, and that's Trevor Nation. Hurst is on his last lap, and he has led for the 3 of these last 4 laps. So we're going to leave it to the statisticians to work out exactly who's won the aggregate of the first leg. But certainly Hurst will be looking great. If he can get to that checkered flag, he'll be looking very good indeed for the second leg of this Manufacturers' Cup. Mick?
Yes, in actual fact, I think Phil Miller could just have been there for the overall aggregate, leading after the first leg, now line second, I beg your pardon, third. I think it'll actually be done on times, and he could be in a very good position to win it.
And there's Hurst. He's looking again, and he's trying to get as far ahead as he can. And there he is, he's taking the checkered flag. And looks like Keith Hewen in 2nd place on that second part. And 3rd was Phil Miller. 4th was Jeff Fowler. And 5th was number 5, Trevor Nation. And number 6, Steve Chambers, the man who's the local man. He was in 6th position, local man from Lincoln. So that's Hurst, Hewen, Miller, Fowler, Nation, and then Chambers in 6th place. And we'll have to wait to see what the aggregate of these 2 parts of this first leg, because there was a crash in the SBS TZR 250 Challenge. 6 laps this time of the Cadwell Park 2